So, are we recording? Yes. Good! Wonderful. Thank you for joining me for this kind of late predictions video, but I didn't really have time, so you're getting it now. Better late than never. Anyway, to keep the tradition alive, the #1 introduction in all of the YouTube wrestling community. Wait for it. Are we ready? Are we ready? It's supposed to be somebody farted in here. I don't know who the hell that would have been. Live from my mother's basement, here's Johnny. Hooray! A very festive shirt on today. I am not entirely sure why. We're here to talk about TNA No Surrender and the card thereof. The card thereof that wasn't entirely built until the go-home show. For whatever reason. TNA decided that we didn't need to know what was going to come up until the show before. Okay, whatever. I understand that they've been kind of busy with this Aces and Eights Bound for Glory thing, but you still need to find time to put your fucking card together and build feuds and shit. And they've done that to an extent, but even for me, somebody that's really pushing TNA right now, it seemed a little bit half-assed. So, you know, you have to forgive me if I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to be an A+ show. The matches that they have lined up have a possibility to deliver. Whether or not that will be the case, I guess, is entirely up to the presentation. To me, I'm looking outside. It looks like a beautiful, gorgeous blue sky, wonderful, still coming off the ends of summer day. I think a lot of it's going to be the environment that TNA gives us at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I don't want to get too much into, you know, the psychology of how pay-per-view could or couldn't be good. Because I'm not even talking about matches yet in this sense. More likely than not, I'm talking about whether it's a rainy day, whether it's a sunny day, whether you feel good, whether you feel... Wrestling is one of those things that has the ability to take you out of your, you know, element that you're in, and to put you into, you know, a suspension of disbelief and just suck you right in to what they're doing. And for me personally, the last TNA pay-per-view that I bought, I enjoyed. I wouldn't say that it was a 5-star wonderful show from front to back, but I would say, without fail, that at least TNA has been consistent with their pay-per-views for even a year now, giving us, you know, something to look forward to every time, even if they're not built the best way. And, you know, that's hard to do. You know, nobody, I think, has that down to a science yet. It's something that we're going to have to see in the future. And I implore everybody that is watching TNA right now to continue watching TNA and to support it. And for all of you guys that are maybe sick with, you know, other promotions, whether it's, you know, the Ring of Honor people saying that there's just no characters to watch and it all seems like stunt and spot monkeys doing the same flippy-flips and loop-de-loops and whatever, come watch TNA. And for those of you that, like me, have kind of, you know, passed up WWE for a while, so that's not for me right now. I can't deal with it. Come support TNA. It's a company that has so much potential and just doesn't deserve all of the bad-mouthing and the bashing that it gets for no particular reason. If there's a particular reason, it's usually a good reason. But just the fact to say that, oh, it's TNA, it's garbage. Clearly you haven't been living the past year. You've had your head under a rock, or you're just some asshole that your opinion shouldn't be taken. You know, with any kind of sincerity or severity or just at all. Here are my predictions, now that I'm 5 minutes into the video and actually giving you nothing so far, as to what to expect tonight from No Surrender. And I guess one of the first things I'll mention is that I, for one, am a huge, huge, huge fan of Tara in the Knockouts division. I think she's excellent. And unfortunately for her, I think that she's going to have to put over Tessmacher so that Tessmacher can feud with somebody the likes of Mickie James at the biggest show of them all. I don't know if they're going to continue Tessmacher's push or if they're going to take the belt off of her at Bound for Glory, but either way, I predict Tessmacher going over tonight. They've had ample opportunity and time to build this feud better than they did, but at least they gave us what they did, and for that, I will, extend my hat and say thank you for at least getting the women on the show consistently, even at the expense of other things. So, another announced match at the last fucking possible minute was the X Division Championship being defended by Zema Ion, who I predict will retain, against Sanjay Dutt for apparently no reason, because we haven't seen it on the programming. I remember the Kenny King versus Zema Ion match, and it was a great match. Sanjay Dutt is, a decent performer. I think that they'll go out there. I don't expect anything spectacular or show-stealing to happen here, since there's no storyline. There's nothing to really buy into. Expect what you normally get from the X Division, though, and that's two guys going out there and, entertaining us. But do I expect them to put on a clinic? No. And do I expect the crowd to even be 100% behind this? No. But Zema Ion has no reason to lose this championship, and I think they just kind of put it there to remind us that they have an X Division championship. Next, let's talk about Magnus versus Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam didn't get it done for the Bound for Glory series, thankfully. I make no qualms that, back in like 95, 96, even up until 2001, I was a pretty big Rob Van Dam fan. However, in the last couple of years, I have not been a Rob Van Dam fan, and I think that he, is living in the past and promoting himself based on that rather than looking forward to the future. I don't think it's Rob Van Dam's time. I think that the business kind of screwed him over to an extent. When he first joined TNA, he had a run as champion. It was kind of like, oh, here you go, yay. He doesn't belong in the TNA World Heavyweight Championship spot. He already had his chance earlier against Bobby Roode this year. Let it be done. Put over some new talent. And I think maybe, with a little bit of luck, that's what we'll get tonight. Magnus versus Rob Van Dam. I think Magnus is going to have to go over here in order to make sure that plans go on, without a hitch for what they have planned for him at Bound for Glory, because I think that with the featuring him like they've been doing, I think that Magnus is going to amount to bigger and better things, especially with, the end of 2012 coming in and coming on, rather, and 2013, just like a blink away at this point. By the next Big Four pay-per-view after Bound for Glory, I expect Magnus to be in some kind of either title contention or working his way up the card predominantly to insert himself into some time of, big-time feud. Maybe not the World Heavyweight Championship, but something that's going to really solidify him and put him on the map. Then we talk about the TNA Tag Team Championship, which is one of the other matches that was announced at, the last possible minute. Honestly, when I watched Impact, I thought that Guerrero and Hernandez were going to take the fucking titles. But they didn't do that, and maybe they're setting us up for something bigger. They've got Kurt Angle and AJ Styles going against Daniels and Kazarian again. This is kind of a repeat match. It's got no build, but maybe they're hoping that the talent in the ring can carry the match and they don't need to build it. That it'll just be a solid match. And, honestly, it was the first time, so why would it be any less the second? Although, on the other hand, if we've already seen it, and, the story going into it was a little bit better then, why now would we want to see it again when it hasn't been built? So, this is kind of... I'm trying to get the right word here in my mind. I kind of had, like, a stupid moment. It's kind of make or break. Like, depending on how they play it out, I want to personally see Daniels and Kazarian retain. And I want to see something dramatically big be built up for Bound for Glory with the tag division that they've really been kind of pushing on the back burner, whether it was the Claire Lynch storyline, which was terrible, or whether it was just, other shit to do with Daniels and AJ going, with their single stuff or just because they didn't have time with the other build-up for the Bound for Glory things and the Aces and Eights crap. Like, I know that some things have to get swept under the bus in order for that to happen, but the tag team division is a big part of not only your supporting undercard, but where you feature and get guys on TV that you might not have other long-term gigantic feuds for. And I think that's why they put Kurt Angle in it in the first place, just to get him back on the pay-per-view for people that want to see Kurt Angle wrestle. But I don't think that AJ and Kurt are going to get it done. And I think that Daniels and Kazarian are going to squeak by somehow. I'd like to see them do it definitively and prove that they are, you know, a great tag team in TNA, just not by cheating and stealing one again, because they did it on the Go Home show. They need a clean win. And then I think it would be in TNA's best interest to have kind of a tag team, tornado, fatal, four-corner, whatever the fuck you want to call it, match with a couple of teams. Or at least buy Bound for Glory to establish who the next #1 contenders would be after this pay-per-view, No Surrender. But I'm picking Daniels and Kazarian to go over here. Might not be the popular opinion, but that's the one I'm going with. As for the Bound for Glory semifinals, let's go with Bully Ray versus James Storm first. Now, this is something I'm really torn on, because I think that they really want to have James Storm in the final, but at the same time, I can see them giving this to Bully Ray to make it look like he's going to win, because I really would like him to win. Maybe that's something selfish, but at the same time, I see James Storm going over, because if they want to continue the storyline with Storm and Rude to pay off at Bound for Glory, what better way to do that than to have James Storm in possibly the main event tonight at No Surrender, and then get screwed while he's this close, instead of in the semifinal against Bully Ray. That or the Aces and Eights are going to get involved in it somehow, and Storm will find out somehow that Rude was behind it, or had something to do. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to predict Bully Ray to go over, and I'm admitting right now that I could be entirely wrong, but that's what I want to see. So, yeah. Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. Everybody knows how I feel about Hardy. I wish Joe would win. I wish Joe would actually go on to win the whole thing. I've predicted him to be the winner since about the 4th week they were doing this. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be right, but that's who I want to see go over. So then, which doesn't make any sense, but for my own selfish desires, you would have the final for that series for Bound for Glory be Joe versus Bully Ray. 2 big men. Again, I don't think they would do, but that's what I want to see. In all reality, it'll probably end up being Jeff Hardy to win the whole damn thing, and I would be mad. But, you know, there's a chance that they would give it to Bully Ray. I think, you know, I've watched other people's reviews. I'm not going to say that this is an idea that I came up with or invented, but Magnus and Joe, I don't think they're done. I think they're going to have some big program coming up. You can already kind of tell by the way that Magnus is going in there with Rob Van Dam that he's going to, you know, he's going to become a bigger part of the program. And I think to really cement that feud, that when Joe and Magnus broke up as a tag team, that Magnus should have been also given, you know, a higher spot and a better push, rather than just have it, you know, Joe made him tap out like one of the next nights in a few minutes without anything impressive. But yeah, so my prediction is that Bully Ray is going to win this whole thing, and I could be entirely wrong, but that's what I'm going with. Bully Ray. I said it. It's on camera. It's documented. Yes. Then you have the World Heavyweight Championship match, Aries versus whoever the hell it's going to be, and personally, I don't care. I like Austin Aries a lot. I've loved his ascent too, and his first couple of defenses as champion. I liked when he was still feuding with Bobby Roode. That really great match has made sense. And now it's just kind of hanging out there because they don't have anything for him and they don't want to put him in a new program until Bound for Glory. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it fucks over Aries. They should not have done the Bobby Roode thing where he didn't get another shot. They should have let that play out, and then he still could have somehow ended up, you know, with James Storm versus Roode at Bound for Glory if Roode somehow took the belt back from Austin Aries. I don't know. I see Aries retaining, obviously, because he's their big money maker, and they'd probably do a Hardy versus Aries at Bound for Glory to draw the money. I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm stealing all the ideas that the British Fist and the other people out here that make videos have said, but yeah, you want to do something that's going to have a big payoff and something that's going to cater to the casual fans, and I agree with that. As much as I want to see it be Bully Ray versus Austin Aries again and have that come full circle, and then Bully Ray can redeem himself by, you know, beating the snot out of Aries now that Aries is established as a main event guy. Aries can work his way back up to the title scene, and Bully Ray can give himself a title, you know, a title reign that is well deserved. He's the best heat magnet in the wrestling business right now. He is just incredible. He's a great heel. He's probably the #1 heel in wrestling right now, if you ask me. That would be the match I want to see over Hardy versus Aries. And the reason why is the contrast in styles. I think Hardy and Aries have more of a higher flying, quicker pace style, and I think that for a World Heavyweight Championship match, you want to have somebody in there that symbolizes what a heavyweight division is. And that's just me trying to respect weight classes and so on. So those are my predictions. I'm sorry I went on, you know, a half hour or whatever. Oh, so only 18 minutes? This is shorter than I normally go. This is amazing. And that's been 5 minutes wasted at the beginning, so remember that. I'm actually getting shit done. Yeah, efficiency. So, live from my mother's basement, this is Johnny signing out. Please make sure to leave me some comments below or whatever to say what you think, or to, you know, say, hey, asshole, you were accurate or you weren't. And, you know, if you want to donate to the I Need a Snickers Bar Fund, I will not put a link in the description box because I don't e-beg. Good night. Enjoy the pay-per-view.